Welcome to this video, guys. So in this video I want to demonstrate Linux on Android running on incredibly fast Snapdragon 8 Elite tablet. So recently I took OnePlus Pad 3, which is Snapdragon 8 Elite. Probably many people already know Qualcomm released extremely competitive ARM cores that are almost faster as M2, and they are actually releasing Snapdragon X Elite 2 and Orion 2 cores, and I think they are claiming that they are faster than M4, but we're gonna see. For now, this tablet is like unique device because, guys, here I want to show you something. It's running Lineage OS. So this powerful Snapdragon, it's running Lineage OS, and let me show you. So it's running Android 16, and basically we are running open source Android. But many people will ask, what about Linux? This portable device is like very nice. And here on my site they also sell a very nice keyboard. So can it run Linux? Of course, but there is one caveat. So let me show you, guys. To run Linux on Android, we need some special application. It's called Termux X11. So this application, it can play like X11 server running on Android, and it can basically run native compiled for Android Linux program. So I wanna explain here a little bit. You can't run Linux in Android directly because if you use QEMU, the most Android device, they are lacking support of KVM. So at hardware level, manufacturers disable KVM, so we cannot run directly Linux on our tablet. But what we can do is just try to emulate and basically not to emulate, but without KVM. Basically the emulation speed will be slow. So in order to learn Linux, there is software called Termux, and what they are doing is basically they are compiling Linux program to run with Android SDK. So basically because Android is using let me start actually the one second. Let me start the demo to show you. So here is the Termux app. Basically the Termux is just an application which is something like package installer to install your Linux packages on Android. But it also can run X11 server. So For example, here I already set up my device and will demonstrate how Linux is working here. We're gonna run this command and it will start X11. So as we can see here, guys, the Termux is working, and I was just wanted to explain, it's not emulation, but basically we are running compiled, for example, Debian packages inside your Android. But to be able to run, these packages need to be compiled to use Android C library. So let me show you here. I explain it on my website. So basically, Termux is something like package manager and terminal for installing Linux packages on Android. So software support 3 different modes. First one is native mode. In this mode, Linux packages are being recompiled with Android libs to run like native Android apps. Apps need to be recompiled because there is difference between Linux and Android. On normal Linux distribution like Debian or Void or Ubuntu, we are using libc or for our standard libc library, we are using glibc or musl for Linux. So Linux kernel is same, and syscalls and POSIX behavior are expected by Linux. So on Android, they changed the libc. They're still using Linux kernel, but they changed the libc library and it's Boeing C, and the ABI userland is different. So application need to be recompiled in order to run inside Android. And there is a little bit of emulation on Termux. So it's acting like something like translator, and basically to be a little bit more simple, Termux is trying to use native Linux packages. It's just they're being translated to be compatible with Android. So in simple words, you need Termux packages. So imagine Termux is like Linux distribution for Android. I can basically simply explain it like this. And it will run Linux packages, basically recompiled and built especially for Termux. It's working on LineHOS, which is basically we have fully open source Android, and basically Termux, it uses specially compiled Linux packages for Android, and they are running faster. Basically, if you compare native running Linux and Linux packages built for Android, these who are built for Android are running better, and they are better optimized because they are using native Android libs. So you're gonna ask, but what about the 3D? Yes, the Linux kernel, the Linux, most of the Linux apps, they're using Vulkan or OpenGL. But in the Android side, we are using OpenGL ES or Vulkan. So sometimes application needs to have support for OpenGL, but it's not natively supported. So we are running something like translation, and there is special method drivers called turn IP, which are built for Arduino, for different types of GPUs. In our case, we are using Arduino GPU, and basically we are translating. There is something like translation layer which is happening and translating OpenGL to Vulkan. So So in this case we are running basically OpenGL apps who are being translated to native Vulkan drivers, something like Proton. If you know how the Steam is working, there is translation layer called Proton, which is translating basically DirectX games to run on Linux, and they are using Direct3D to Vulkan translation. So the same is happening here, but just is using Zinc, which is translating OpenGL to Vulkan, and this is how it works. So I can demonstrate here. I can run glmark. Currently I'm using remote desktop for this, but I will try to do my best to show you guys. So we can see Vulkan is running. Basically Zinc is using Vulkan 1.3, which is Qualcomm proprietary driver, but OpenGL 4.6 is being used on our host device basically and on our Linux program. So we can run and basically emulate OpenGL throughout the Vulkan, and glmark is running perfectly. I can show you some other games. One second. For example, I can try games. Super Tux Kart. And it's running. I'm using remote desktop here, guys, so basically the game is running perfectly in a real device. So we can run some games, but the only thing we need to have is just the game to have package for Termux. So we need basically, we cannot run any Linux application. We need to run special Termux package which are designed for that, to run in this kind of environment. So other than that, we can use Brave, for example, this popular privacy-oriented browser, and I can demonstrate YouTube. Basically, YouTube is running very well, and I can play you video. It is running in 4K without any problem, because basically we are using apps who are natively compiled for Android. So that's why everything is running so good. And even we are, for example, if you run the same thing in laptop, in Ubuntu, it will run worse than this version. So as we can see, we have a lot of popular software here. We have GIMP, Mousepad, Gedit. What else? You can do BitTorrent, VLC working, MPV is working. Basically, the most used Linux software it will run. There is already package compiled for Termux. And even if you're a developer, there is some nice environment, and there is Termux App Store. I can demonstrate here what software is available. Give it a little bit of time to load. So so here is the software. So for the games we have even something that can translate x86 to ARM64, but one thing, I tried to run Notepad++ and it didn't work. I don't know why. I didn't test with other Windows application, but the other stuff is working, like multimedia. We can see what is available here. Even we have Signal, VLC, Spotify, YouTube Music, Discord, MPV. Basically a lot of stuff. OpenOffice, transmission, productivity, apps, Blender, even Blender, LibreOffice, and yeah, in graphics we have GIMP. And what else? So most of the things are okay. So if we do this, it will show the Linux kernel we are running. So basically it shows your Android kernel. It uses directly your Android kernel and is running on top of it Linux applications. Let me know, guys, in the comments below what else you want me to test. But in simple words, this is like basic showcase of Linux on Android. It's running like environment. It's running Debian packages, and it's run in this native Termux mode. So one thing I wanna explain a little bit, there is other modes that they can emulate glibc calls and run totally native glibc apps, but I didn't test this because it will be slower, and basically I'm showing you most faster way how we can run Linux application on top of Android kernel. So other methods are slower, most compatible. There is more application that will work, but it will run slower. This method is running almost faster than if you are installing native Linux on your tablet. So basically I am showing you the best of the both worlds. And that is for this video. Like and subscribe if you like, and comment if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.